Hello and welcome to another episode of Spirituality for Badass Babes. I'm your host, Ania Halama, and today I have a special guest with me today, Sandra Cantu Bustamante. Sandra has a BSc in a mechanical and electronical engineering with a solid corporate career in the energy industry that's dedicated to following her intuition and soul's inspiration to become a life purpose coach. We're all about finding your soul purpose here, finding your soul inspiration, and really being in tune with yourself and everything that you do in order to move forward in life and in your own expansion as well. Finding your own intuition, connecting to that as well. She's also an NLP master. After years of studying topics related to spirituality, such as astrology, Akashic Records, energy and manifestation, evolution and consciousness, as well as personal development. Later, she followed her calling to become an author, hoping to inspire others to connect it to their own purpose and make their journeys much, much, much smoother. All that we are about on here as well. So hello, Sandra, how are you?
Hi, Ania. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. This is my first podcast in life. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Well, that is very exciting. We are so excited to have you and so happy to have you. I know all of the viewers will love chatting with you as well. Sandra and I have connected before this episode recording, and she has some exciting things happening in her life, and we'll get to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But I want to ask, as I always do, what makes you a spiritual badass?
That's a good question, but I think it's the courage to follow my soul and to follow my purpose. It's not always easy, and follow my intuition and to surrender and flow and lose control. I think that's what makes me a spiritual badass.
I love it. A lot of people, they do have a hard time surrendering and releasing that control. Like one of my mentors, she always says, and I'm going to keep saying this, like this particular mentor that I have, she gives me so many good quotes and so many good things that I constantly say. And if you've been listening to Spirituality for Badass Babe, you've heard me say this many of times. But this particular thing is like, we can't micromanage the universe. And I love that. We cannot control everything. We can't control the universe. Like allow things to come to you when they're supposed to come to you, all in perfect divine timing. But it's a lot of people, they don't know how to surrender that. They don't know how to let go of that. They don't know how to tap into that intuition. So you just wrote a brand new book, Thriving Through Purpose, and it's all about finding your own purpose, your own calling. So how did you find your own purpose and your own calling in order to write that book as well?
Yes, well, I think my journey started many years ago without me even knowing. I got into astrology, I got into the Akashic Records, I got into transgenerational therapy, all because it was part of my passions and my interests. And in parallel, I was still working in a corporate role. And I don't know, as time passed, it seems like all the pieces started to be put together. I met the right people. The divine timing also after COVID. I had a lot of time to reflect and reconnect with my soul, reconnect with my passions and my interests. And also this part of me that wanted to contribute to the world was reawakened. So that's when I went inside and did a lot of reflection. And I decided to become a life purpose coach. And when I certified and I was putting my ideas in order, that's when the inspiration came and I just started writing. I am very private. I'm a private person. I'm very introvert. So I tend to not share so much. But this time I knew I had to. That maybe a lot of people were going through the same journey, and that maybe what I had to say, you don't find it in any other books, no, because it's been, a healing journey, a journey of unbecoming, unlearning, a journey of reconnecting with myself, with my intuition, with my soul, with my feminine side, with nature, with my inner guidance, my spirit guides. It's been a long process, and that's what it suddenly came to me, the realization of all what had to happen for me to arrive to this. Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's always a long process. Sometimes it's a painful process. It's a long process, but it is really beautiful once we finally start unbecoming all of that we thought we were and start truly becoming who we know that our soul guides us to who we are supposed to be. And funny enough, so I'm actually sitting at a cafe today. I am in the middle of a move. And the cafe is called Alma. So like your soul, finding your soul. So perfect enough to record this episode. But actually that reminds me a lot of how I went about writing my own book, Rebel's Guide to Spirituality. It's like I just kept getting these intuitive hits. It's like, right. And I was so frustrated with the universe. Like, I'm like, universe, I'm not a writer. What do you want me to write? I'm very different than you, though. I am very extroverted and I'm an open book to anyone and everyone who asks. And like it's a look inside my own diary, essentially. And sometimes we need to be vulnerable. We need to share those things in order for others to heal as well. I always say, like, we can feel free to share whatever you want to share, but once you actually truly heal, that's when you become more vulnerable. That's when you become more authentic, and sharing those stories so that other people can heal from that as well, because you never know what anyone else is going through. And sometimes someone reading your story, hearing to you talk about your story, that's when it clicks to them, for them, and they have their own reflection on life as well, and they can start healing too. So what do you say to people who are looking for their soul purpose, who are looking for their own soul calling? Like, how do they get started in that? How do they start finding? Because there's, especially after COVID, a lot of people, they had to take a break from whatever they were learning, whatever their jobs were. They had to take a little bit of that break, and they're like, oh crap, actually my soul is calling me to do something else. Like, I lost my job, I did this, like my soul is asking for something else, and I have no idea where to get started. So how do people get started on finding that soul purpose and that soul calling that they have?
Yeah, I think that the first step is to go into a self-awareness journey, like, who am I? What are my talents? What are my passions? And to find a way to differentiate your true essence from the identity that you have built due to society and conditioning. So to remember when you were a child, what were your passions? What were you interested in? I think it's very important to reconnect with your inner child, with your intuition, with yourself, and to remember that we all have a lower self and a higher self. Lower self is always concerned with meeting needs for safety, for security, for self-esteem, and the higher self is what's interested in more transcendental things. So we need to connect to that higher self. That's what's going to guide us, and take one step at a time, and be brave, because most of the times maybe our life will be at odds with what our life purpose is supposed to be. Sometimes we need to make some changes, but it's important to take it step by step and gradual, and don't take impulsive decisions. Just start reconnecting with yourself. That would be my first advice.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I love that you talk about like connecting to that inner child as well, because I always say, and I teach finding your soul purpose as well, and we talk about it here on the podcast, and I've said other podcasts about this already. So I was wondering, I love that you're speaking about the inner child, because like your inner child has been guided your entire life with what your soul purpose is, what your real mission on this earth is. And this is why the universe throws little inklings for us, like, oh yeah, you might like baseball, or you might like dancing, or you might like art, or you might like rocks, whatever you like. just start reconnecting to like what's that inner child of yours truly like, because you've been given inklings your entire life of, yes, I like this for a particular reason. I like this because this might be my soul mission, because this might be something that I am truly interested in and truly am supposed to be doing with my life. So yeah, start connecting with it, with your inner child, and start living out those passions. What are some of those challenges that you've seen people have throughout their lives, that why they can't connect to their soul purposes, or they might not know how to? What are some of those challenges that you see people facing? Because this is what you do, you coach people, how do I find that soul purpose?
Yes, exactly. I think the main reasons for not connecting with your soul purpose is fear of not having enough resources, fear of not being loved, fear of not being enough. And sometimes this is just a perspective. I mean, there's wealthy people who think they are poor or live as poor people, or they have a lot of insecurity. It's never enough what they have. Also people that are surrounded by love, but for some reason it's not enough. So it's a matter of becoming self-sufficient and to conquer the fears and to go past uncertainty, to learn to live with the uncertainty and to trust the universe. We are all supported by the universe, but to get past these fears of the ego, that's the main challenge that I see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, start getting out of the ego and start tuning into your heart. I was actually talking to someone about this the other day, and I talked about this during the most recent event that I did. It's like your heart is in the front. Like, this is where all the love and all of the compassion comes from. Start opening your heart and start leading with your heart, whereas your ego is in the back. And this is why you shouldn't slouch, because like once you're slouching, that is your ego. You're tuning in from the ego. So open up your chest, open up your life, and then start leading with your heart. And yeah, you'll start connecting to what your life purposes are, what your soul is calling to do, and what you're truly meant to do on this earth. What do you wish more people knew? First off, does everyone have a life purpose? I know the answer to that, but let's tell our audience. Does everyone have a life purpose? We've already talked how to connect to that. What do you wish more people knew or needed to know about their life purpose?
Well, in the book, I talk about 3 levels of life purpose: the purpose at an individual level, purpose at a family level, and purpose at a collective level. So the purpose at an individual level is always focused on the soul's evolution, of mastering and transcending imperfection, and getting to perfection and achieving neutrality. Some souls came to the planet to restore the balance inside their family trees. This is called the famous black ships, no, or the indigo souls. They are here to heal their family trees, and also at a collective level. Well, we all have a mission. For some, is something that can be considered small, but it's as important as anything else. Or for some, it's a bigger thing. There's no small or big purpose, I think. But what I would like more people to know is that it's like a hero's journey, really. It takes a lot of courage to follow your purpose, and you will have to face all your fears. And you will have to heal. And if you surrender, you will be guided to do it. So it's something that takes time. Is something that can be a bit scary, because as you up level, the universe starts rearranging. So your life suddenly rearranges as well. Some things start to be resonant with you and start living your life. Maybe you lose a job, maybe a relationship is broken, because it's all energy, it's all resonance. So that's what I would like people to understand, that it's it's a holistic thing, no? And it takes time, and it takes courage, and it takes facing your inner fears and healing your deepest wounds.
I love that. The like it truly is like the spiritual path does take so much courage. Like we don't realize that once we get on a spiritual path, but then all of a sudden, like your life gets in shambles and you're having one awakening, two awakenings, three awakenings, and you're like, what the heck am I truly doing with myself and my life? Like, what is going on? But yeah, collectively speaking, we are all going through something right now. So your life might be a little disorganized, it might be a little hectic, and there might be a lot of chaos going on in your life. And that is completely okay. Collectively, we are all rising. We are all rising into that 5 dimension where we can start walking this new path of the new earth. And it's going to be scary. There's going to be a lot of things that aren't resonant to you anymore. Like Sandra was saying, like you might not resonate with your friends. You might lose your job all of a sudden, and you're like, what the heck is going on? I know that it is a collective thing that's happening right now, and you are changing your frequency, you are changing your vibration in order for all of us to start living in that purpose and slowly start aligning ourselves with who we are and what we were meant to do on this earth. Sandra, do you have any last minute tips, tricks, how anyone else could tap into their frequencies and their own life purpose, or anything about life purpose that you can share as well?
Well, now that you mentioned the 5th dimension and the shift that humanity is doing, it's very important to focus on that and to take our place, because we are the ones that need to build the new humanity. So we need to start taking our place and doing our part. That's part of what inspired me to write the book, also to bring some hope, because we are going through the chaos before the new. No, things need to be destructed in order for new beginnings and new structures to be born. So that's what I would like people to remember. It's like a friendly reminder that you're not here to pay bills and to go to a job, and you're here for a higher thing, no? So just go inside yourself. There will be a lot of answers there. And yeah, this is a magical time, I think, for humanity. Is something special. We are literally going through a death and rebirth energetically. And we have the opportunity to have heaven on earth, to co-create and become heaven, gods, earthly gods, no? So I just want people to remember.
Yes, remember who you are. Remember that you have a mission much bigger than yourself, much bigger than you ever imagined, and start doing the work. Start tuning into yourself so you can start walking the path of your soul purpose. Start truly walking the path of what you are put on this planet to do, because you have a mission way bigger than your soul, babe. Yes, you do. All right, Sandra, where can people find you? Where can they get your brand new book? Where can they follow you?
Yeah, my website is thrivingthroughpurpose.com. They can find me on Instagram and at Thriving Through Purpose. And my book is already for sale in Amazon, so they can find it there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure speaking with you today.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.